You really wanted to be a star, didn't you?
I wanted it. I mean, I wanted it with a passion, but it was a kind of. I mean, it sounds very easy to say in hindsight, but I've always had a very strange sense of my own future, and as a child, even though I had no idea that I could write or sing, I was convinced that I was going to be a pop star. I had no real inclination to shout about it because I just felt it was going to happen. And there are those strange moments that you remember as a child. You can remember a certain thought, and I remember at various occasions between the ages of about 7 and 15. I remember if I got into any kind of difficulty, whether it be at school, with friends, or if I ever, because sometimes I kind of felt like an outsider, even though I wasn't. I was very social. I had this kind of thought in the back of my head that it wouldn't really matter because one day I was going to be separated. I had this thing. I mean, now that I'm here, I don't feel special for being here, but I had this feeling that I was going to do something special, and there was going to be something apart, which I've spoken to other people that have said the same thing, which of course it's easy enough to say in hindsight. There's probably loads of kids that think they're going to be very special or do something very out of the ordinary and then they don't, but that's just the way I remember it. And I don't understand why I felt that way, because I had no idea what I could do. When I was 13, 14, I hadn't really thought about whether I was going to sing. I originally played the drums. I played the violin before that because my parents wanted me to. And it wasn't until I don't think it was until we made the album Make It Big that I actually accepted that I was a singer. That I could actually I was going to be a singer that was more than like just average, that could actually get some respect from people. And that seems really strange to me, that I had a real belief in myself as a child, but I didn't know what as.
How did you deal? You had so little experience in dealing with success. How was it to deal with this explosion that happened? Just Make It Big album. How much did it change you?
It must have changed. I mean, it obviously changed my confidence in some. I mean, I've always seen my career and my personality as being quite separate things, and I think really that my confidence as an artist, as a writer and a singer grows all the time. My confidence as a person has pretty much stayed on the same level. I'm very aware of the fact that stars left, right, and centre. I mean, especially the stars that I've met. If you can see people's success reflected, or you see your own success reflected in other people's success, and meet celebrities all the time, then you'd be stupid not to notice the weaknesses they have, and not to realise that they're things that you're just as vulnerable to. I mean, I think I'm very guarded against. I mean, like this, for instance. I mean, being in Beverly Hills. And having the Mercedes and all the cliches. They're the kind of cliches that I'm very aware of all the time, and I take very much with a sense of humour. I mean, I'm not an extravagant person. I don't like to buy things or have things. I don't really take much pleasure in stardom, as it were. I take a lot of pleasure in the freedom it gives me creatively, and as a person to be able to be any place I want, when I want. I take a lot of pleasure in that. Other than that, I don't really wallow in people's perception of me, because I find people's perception of me very false. So in that sense, I think I've managed to keep hold of my own personality. Apart from anything, I don't surround myself with new people. I'm very much around the people that I've known all my life.